Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to this webinar today. So I'm Ashish Agrawal. I work as the head of digital marketing at a company called Zycus. So Zycus currently makes software in the procurement domain. And like a little background about myself. So I've been working for the last 13 years or so. And last 10 years of them have been mostly into digital. So I've worked in a couple of agencies. I've worked with a premium publisher, Condé Nast, and now I'm currently working with this B2B marketing organization called Zycus. So that's a little of my journey so far. So uh, today I'm going to talk about some of the digital marketing strategies that are currently working. So this is all based off a lot of my experience of what I have gathered over the years, and I've seen what's working, what's not working. So you can be rest assured that whatever I talk today, if you go and implement these strategies or even pick one or two things and then you try executing on it, it will definitely help you and get you the results that you desire today. Okay, so I've marked my LinkedIn ID and my email ID for your reference if you want to reach out to me, and I'm going to share that once again at the end of the slide. So I'm going to start off. So first, the first thing that I want to talk about today is about the digital marketing tech stack. So I'm not sure how aware everybody is about how the tech stack, the marketing tech stack has grown over the years, and how increasingly complicated it has actually become, right? So when we started off in with digital, let's say around 20 years back, the situation was not as complicated as we see it is today, right? So the best thing that you can do regarding your digital marketing tech stack is kind of keep on adding to it over a period of time. Start with something small and then keep on adding to your tech stack as you go forward, right? So over a period of time your tech stack will mature and your digital marketing processes will mature accordingly, right? So that's the key. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the various elements in a tech stack today are. So we have as part of, let's say, for example, awareness, we have all these social media platforms. We do a lot of paid ads, right? uh, then regarding your website, there are a lot of CMS platforms that you can reach out to, a lot of SEO that can be done, right? Conversion optimization tools, etc. So that's also another part of the stack. Then we have CRM and marketing automation systems, and which are really important to tie everything together, right? Then we have enrichment, like data enrichment platforms. We have email platforms, etc., customer support platforms, right? Communication, internal communication platforms, your analytics platforms, which are uh, it can be web analytics or data presentation platforms. So a lot of uh, you know uh, elements make up the entire end-to-end digital marketing stack, and my suggestion here would be to kind of see that you're addressing all parts of the stack over a period of time. If you're not, that's fine. Try and use free tools wherever possible, and as you go along you can obviously you know keep on adding to your stack. So that's the first thing which I wanted to share today. Now I'll move on. So the first step that I have, which actually anybody who's been in the digital domain for some time already knows, that content marketing works really well today, and it would pay you off really well if you actually start investing a lot in content marketing. So I've put down some content marketing goals, right, which work. It's not just B2B; it even works for B2C, etc. So content marketing is an absolute essential if you're into digital today. So you can like target goals like lead gen, lead nurturing, right? Make increasing your brand awareness, engagement, all kind of goals. Any goals that you have, you can actually target them using content marketing. And I like to look at content marketing as something which is a very longer term strategy, but which will start paying off really well if you start investing in it, right? So you cannot expect to start content marketing today and expect 1 month down the line a lot of returns to show. That might be true with paid ads because you're paying for it, but content marketing is relatively free and inexpensive. So you have to invest in it, and over a period of time, I can assure that you'll see a lot of results which might even surpass what you're seeing with your paid ads today, right? So as a tip, I've mentioned blogging with an SEO intent is extremely powerful and relevant today. So keep SEO in mind and optimize whatever you do from a content marketing standpoint. And a fun tip which I had for today, which is extremely relevant to our environment today. You can go and Google for COVID-19 or coronavirus and your industry, right? You'll see what kind of searches are coming up. And then to address that, you can create a content which is actually extremely relevant to the environment that we are living in right now, right? And that's something I wanted to share. So next, I'm going to talk a little bit about video. So I'm going to taking the conversation ahead from content marketing. I'm talking about video right now. So I mentioned there's a reason why Netflix is successful, right? Why is Netflix so successful is because they are actually using video to entertain an audience, and people want to be entertained by videos, right? So videos offer a unique advantage that there's a lot of moving elements, etc. It's easier to engage somebody using a video, right, compared to a text. So you should use these insights to your advantage. You should invest in your video content marketing, and you have there's no excuse today, right? You have YouTube, which is a free video platform you have at your disposal today. Anybody today can start a free YouTube channel, right? And I'm just wanted to highlight some stats. So after Google, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, right? So that's how popular it is, and the reach is extremely good, right? More than 1 billion unique users visit YouTube each month. So you can imagine the kind of reach it has, right? And it obviously is present on all kind of devices, etc. 70% of internet traffic flows through YouTube. So just imagine, how big YouTube is. So if you're serious about your content marketing and you want to do a lot of brand awareness, etc., I would suggest, go with video marketing and at least start a free YouTube channel and get into that. So as an insight, I've put here that people increasingly, they prefer consuming videos for education as well as entertainment. So use those insights and, start making videos today. So next I'm going to talk about something which is, cropped up in the last 3-4 years. So basically content repurposing has now become the norm of the day. When I talk about content repurposing, what does that mean? That means you create one piece of content and then use or modify that piece of content to suit a variety of different social media platforms. For example, like in the image that I've shown there, there's a blog post that you have come up with, but now you're using it to also power a podcast. The same kind of this content, the content is same, right? But it is being kind of formatted to fit the medium, like a podcast, or it might be a slide share, right? You're coming up with slides basis the same content that you have in the blog post, or you're emailing people, or you're coming up with an ebook, or as we discussed in the earlier slide, you're coming up with a video on YouTube, right? So you can use your blog post content in the video, right? So all these things can be done as part of content repurposing. You can use the same piece of content to kind of make yourself relevant of n different platforms today, right? This is the tip which I wanted to share. Next, I'm going to talk about email marketing. So though email marketing has been around for some time, like in my personal experience, it still really works well. And it is the thing which actually gets you in front of people that matter the most to your brand, right? So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the flow of how you should look at email marketing. So as we discussed till now, the content marketing, this content marketing is going to generate a lot of traffic to your website if it is done properly. Once you get the traffic to your website, you have to get people to sign up for your newsletter, right? So let's say you have a newsletter or a email list where people can sign up. You have to give them that option. They have to sign up and opt in into your newsletter. Whenever you have a new piece of content coming out, be it a blog post, etc., you have to send updates to this entire list of users that you've collected over a period of time, right? And then you have to try selling them tremendous value, occasionally through your emails. And mostly it has to be content which adds value to them, to the people who have opted in to listen to you, right? So you have to add value to them. value is the thing which counts over here, and you have to try minimizing the selling part of it, right? So that's how email marketing works today, and it's really good, and everybody should get into it, but do it in an ethical kind of way. Don't kind of push your products or services unnecessarily to people, right? That will turn them off, and it might harm your brand negatively. So another thing that I would want to talk about today is about paid ads, right? So paid ads is something which everybody jumps on when they hear about digital. So I think paid ads are definitely very helpful, and every brand which has reached a certain stage of maturity and wants to scale and has the money to do so should definitely invest in it. In fact, today I would suggest, if you have money, invest in paid ads before investing in things like TV or print media, right? You should start with digital, and then maybe as you get more budget, you should progress to these kind of mediums. Why? Because first of all, digital has the most relevant audience, more targeting capability, more measurement capability, and you have a budget control. You can spend as much as you want on digital. That's not the same with mediums like TV, right? Suppose if you start spending on TV, then you'll have to spend a set amount, right, to actually get exposure to a TV audience. But that's not true for digital. You can spend as less and as much as you want. So paid ads on digital would be my first priority if I'm spending on my marketing, right, today. So they're never going to get out of style. Why? Because people spend more and more time on the internet, right? More so now that people are in lockdowns today, right? They're spending even more time on internet compared to something like a TV, right? Digital is extremely relevant, and it's not going away anywhere soon. It's just starting to rise at this stage. So definitely paid ads should be one of the first things you should look at if you have the budget to spend on marketing, right? So how you go about this process is something I'll quickly discuss. So you define a proper audience, like figure out, which is the audience which works for you, or which you want to target or go after. That's extremely important when you're running a paid ads campaign. Test different strategies and creatives. Every platform that you use will allow you to target differently, right? So if you're running ads on a Google Ads or a Facebook or a LinkedIn, right, or a YouTube, things are different. Targeting settings are different. Learn what those strategies are, right? Create different campaigns using these different strategies and different creatives. Start spending on them, and then you'll come to know what's working, what's not. Take insights from this and start spending more on things that work. So that's in a nutshell the process that you need to follow for your paid ads, right? Uh, you should try and protect your brand on paid ads. If you're not advertising in your industry for your brand, you can be rest assured that your competitors are definitely doing that, right? So at least ensure that you show up for your brand keywords, etc., so that nobody else is trying getting to steal your business, right? So protect your brand. That should be the first priority. And ensure budgeting and goals are defined so that you are within the limits of what you have the ability to spend. And goals should be defined, because if you don't have a target, you don't know what you're working towards, right? So ensure that your goals, budget, everything is defined, and then you're kind of working towards it, right? So mention a tip over there. So if used correctly, paid ads can actually help in achieving business goals and also deliver an ROI of as large as 5x to 10x over a period of time. So this is provided that you take all these inputs which I have just provided and optimize your paid ads over a period of time, right? So if you're able to do that, then I can assure you that you will see a very huge ROI out of paid ads. Okay, so the last thing, so we talked about a lot of strategies and we talked about a marketing tech stack today. So one of the last things which I would like to focus today is on the measurement part of digital. So why digital has also become popular is also the reason is that marketing traditionally had a lot of challenges with measurement. You're spending a lot of money in marketing, like on print or on TV, right, or on radio, but you don't know how it's working, or there were no means to measure, that what's performing, what's not. But now the story has changed. Now that digital is into the picture, there's a lot of opportunity for people to measure things correctly. And give a lot of insights into, you know, what's working and what's not, and what they're getting in return of the money that they're spending, right? So traditionally, the digital marketing industry has worked on a last click attribution. So what is a last click attribution? I'm just going to explain that. So there's an image I've put here. So it shows a person, and it shows the different channels that he's interacted with. So for example, the first interaction is a direct interaction. That means, let's say he's come onto the website directly, right? Then he does a search for something and then he lands onto the website, right? Then he sees an email from that particular brand and he clicks on it and lands onto the website. Then he sees an ad from that brand and he clicks on it and lands on the website. So these are 4 different ways that he has landed onto the website, right? But traditionally, what we have been doing in digital is we are attributing all the credit to the last channel. In this example, the last channel is the display ad, right? Because it's the last one, the most recent interaction that the person has had. So all the credit goes to display ad. But I would urge everybody to look beyond the last click attribution, because if the previous interactions had not happened, like an organic search or email or direct, so maybe the person would have not even have clicked on the display ad, right? So we have to look at, you know, attributing equal credit to the different channels, so that you kind of understand that, you know, what's actually working and not working for you, right? And things like on the left hand side, I've given a lot of different attribution models. So if you look at the linear attribution, which is the fourth model that I've mentioned, it is assigning equal weightage to the different uh, channels, right? So that kind of an attribution model will allow you to kind of accurately and fairly measure, you know, which channels are working for you. And then going forward, you can invest in these kind of channels, you know, which makes sense for your business and would add value to your business, right? So I think, yeah, so that's what I had. So it's in a nutshell, like there's a lot of insights. Like if you look at what I shared today, they have a lot of insights contained within them. If you go deeper into them, I can assure you that there will be a lot of things that you will be gaining out of it, and you can actually, you know, do a lot with what I've shared today. So again, I'm sharing my LinkedIn and my email ID for people who want to get in touch with me, and maybe we can start taking a look at any question answers, etc., that you guys have. So that would make it more interactive, and we can take a look at the questions now. So yeah, please use the chat window, and maybe then we can take the questions. So I've got one question from Asim. He says, can you please share something about the awards you have achieved? So Asim, I've got the top 100 smartest digital marketing leaders. So this is an award given by World Marketing Congress and CMO Asia. So I've got it 3 times in a row right now. And there's another award which I've received called Top 50 Strategy Leaders. This is also from the same organization. And the way they get to this list is, you know, they track a lot of activities that people are doing on different platforms and campaigns, etc. And that's how I've got this award. So it's not a paid or anything. They've reached out to me, and then they have given me this award. So that's how. And as I've already told you, I've been in digital for quite some time now. So I know how things work in digital, and I have kind of been doing a lot of stuff around this. So it's a passionate area for me, and I like, you know, being active in this domain. So I've got another question from Hitesh. He tells me, can you share on community building? So Hitesh, uh, community community building is definitely one of the very important things in digital today. So if you look at all these kind of different platforms, right, which are thriving, be it Facebook, etc., Reddit, Quora, all of them thrive on having a good community, right? And how you build a community for your brand is, first of all, by making use of both the different social media platforms which are at disposal for you, and also by having your website or a blog, right, where you can actually put out some really good content, right? It can also be a YouTube channel, right? Any So you have to uh, put out content which people will be interested in, and you have to do it consistently over a period of time, and that's how you will build a community. For example, I have built a very good community on LinkedIn for myself. Why? And why are people interested in following me or listening to what I say? Because what I say adds value to them, right? There might be people who are wanting help with their marketing or looking for some consultant to help them out. So I kind of always put out content which will help them in their marketing, right? So more and more people are interested in this. Other web marketers might want to learn about things, so they also follow me, right? So a lot of these kind of community I have built through my content on LinkedIn. I have a blog which I've created, right? So people like to read article which I'm putting on my blog, and I keep on putting useful content. So they'll keep on subscribing, and that's how I'm building a community, right? There's no rocket science to it. You have to be consistent and put out things which add value to your audience, and that's how you'll end up building a community. Okay. Okay. So I've got a question from Naved. Can you please give an example of your real-time digital strategy? So Naved, I've covered some elements of it. So this is a very short call, to go over everything. Digital is a very vast domain with a lot of different functions. So like strategy is like an ocean. So I've given you some of the things which are really valuable from that ocean. And I think the entire strategy piece is like a very large discussion that needs to be taken separately. But uh, I rest assured that whatever I have shared with you, all those really form a part of the strategy that I create for my clients today. Okay. Okay. Can you share? Santosh has asked me. Can you share some strategy on email campaigns? Okay, Santosh. So I'll share two strategies with you. So one is, as I discussed, if you have paid attention to what I was saying earlier, so you have to kind of put out content, get people to sign up, and then keep on sharing new valuable content with them, right? So that's the strategy on an email campaign. In between, you might kind of try selling your products and services, but the value of the content should always be there. Another thing with many companies follow is there are a lot of companies which kind of sell you databases, email databases, or you can use things like LinkedIn Sales Navigator to do your research and come up with email IDs of people who you want to target. You have to add these in your database, and then you can kind of send out emails to them about your products, services, etc. So that's another strategy which you can follow for your email campaigns, right? And then there is something which you can use to nurture leads. People have already shown interest in sending emails to them, so that's another strategy which can be followed on an email campaign. So got a question from Sonakshi. She's telling me, hello Ashish, I'm Sonakshi. I'm working as a software engineer in Infosys and a newbie into digital marketing. Since you know how things work in digital, I'm stuck from where to start. Could you pay some light from how a newbie can start? Sonakshi, I would suggest, you should kind of there are two things you can do as a newbie to start. First is, if you're self-motivated, first figure out if you're self-motivated or not. If you're self-motivated and you think you can do this on your own without any help, etc., then you should start going through blogs and different articles on the internet and start executing and doing thing yourself. First you should do is you should get a domain name and start a blog connected to Google Analytics and start putting content over there. Through that itself you'll learn a lot about this. But if you feel that there is a little lack of self motivation and you need some guidance, then you should join some courses, right? The online courses. And then you should kind of follow what is being shown over there and then get some practical uh, experience and execute on it. For example, I currently teach in Upgrad Digital Marketing, right? I am currently a mentor and a teacher at Upgrad, if you've heard about it. So if that's a very good course, if you join it, like I would be one of the teachers over there, and you can kind of benefit from those courses and try and understand things, right? So if you want uh, like a reference, you can just take my name and reach out to Upgrad in case you want like to go through a good course, and that is something that I can recommend. But if you're self motivated, I would say you can obviously do it on your own. Okay, Asim has asked me which industry to focus on during current situation to find new clients for Google Ads management. So Asim, let me be honest with you. During current situation, people are cutting back on spends. So compared to a normal scenario, it's actually more difficult for you to find new clients for Google Ads management, right? So if you have existing clients, I would suggest stick to them and try and get them better results. Which industries to focus on? Maybe pharma companies, I would say, because those are actually doing better business today. Media companies, but it will be difficult to get into those kind of companies directly. But I think pharma and media would be some of the industries of choice. Santosh, I've already answered your question. Harshit, sir, I'm a beginner of digital marketing. So please, can you guide best way to practice digital marketing professionally? I think Harshit, I just answered Sonakshi's question. So this kind of covered over there. So Hitesh, that's from there. So it has to go hand in hand. So your organic and paid will always complement each other. It's not a case about, switching to one or the other, right? Okay. Abhijit, can you elaborate on what you meant by protect your brand? So Abhijit, what I meant by protect your brand was, if you go on, uh, like if you, let's say you go on Google today, okay, I'll just suggest an exercise that you do after maybe this webinar. You go on Google, search for any brand, okay, search for any brand, Adidas, Salesforce, etc., any brand which you want on Google. And if there are some ads which are running on Google, you will see that there are some other competitor brands also running ads on this particular brand term, right? Let's say you're Adidas today, right? And you're searching for Adidas. I see ads from Nike also, correct? So if you are Adidas, it is very important for you to keep running ads on your own brand name, right? Because if you don't, then somebody like a Nike is already running ads on Adidas today, right? So to protect your brand, you have to kind of invest into these kind of ads is what I meant. So it's not that you cannot do paid ads completely, but if you see other competitors trying to grab market share from you, right, on these platforms, then just to protect your brand, you have to do some kind of paid ads on these platforms. Saurabh, your views, Saurabh has asked me your views on social media marketing, how to start branding. Saurabh, pick one platform which you like, okay, or which is relevant to the kind of brand you're trying to build, and just start putting out relevant content. It can be entertaining, educating, whatever it is. Just keep on doing it consistently. Do this for 3 months, and then I don't think I have to explain the uh, next process of where to go from there. That's it. That's what you have to do. Sachin, and this was on the organic side. If I have to talk about paid, then obviously run branding or brand awareness campaigns on the particular channel, right? Sachin Kumar, could you comment on Hotstar as a marketing channel if TG is SMEs? So if the TG is small and medium enterprises, you have to look at what category do they fall in. Do they does the target audience hang out on Hotstar? If the target audience does visit Hotstar, then you can start running ads and then measure what you're getting out of it. Let's say you're getting people or leads from there. Ask them, what is the source? Where did you come to know about us? Which actually Hotstar, then that's a thumbs up. You're actually generating business from there. So continue doing that, right? So that's that's what I would suggest. Okay, so Hitesh is asking me how to design content flow stages. So content, Hitesh, it depends on how sophisticated you want to be with the design, and also how detailed you want to be. If it's a blog post, you need a writer to write it, SEO to optimize it, and a publisher to publish it on WordPress. These roles can be played by different person or it can be one person. But these are some of the steps you need to follow. So if it's a video, it can be, as basic as clicking it from your cell phone and uploading on YouTube, or it can be clicking a video, doing the post-production process, and then, adding a lot of stuff and then putting it on YouTube. So it depends on the person and at the stage at which they are in their digital marketing maturity, right? So different for everybody else. Santosh has asked me how much beneficial is LinkedIn campaign. LinkedIn campaigns are extremely beneficial if you are in the B2B marketing industry. We do run a lot of ads currently in Zykis on LinkedIn, and we see a lot of good results coming out of it. So it's extremely beneficial. Lohit Jain, I have started training in niche technology for AWS and Azure, but unable to market it. Could you share some strategy to target my audience and generate leads? So Lohit, I would say start your website, start putting out content around AWS and Azure, right? Put it on social media platforms. Once people kind of recognize your expertise, then automatically opportunities will start flowing your way. And it might take time to see business coming your way, but once your expertise is established slowly, you will see business coming. Other things you can try if you have money to spend are paid ads, or you can try sending emails to a particular database. So these are some things that you can try. Soumitra has asked me a question. For SMEs, you can leverage interest-based targeting. I used it for a few clients of mine at Hotstar.
So I actually work at Hotstar, so I was addressing that question. I had a question for you as well.
Yeah.
So, you did mention a couple of strategies that you've used and how you've leveraged digital. What we wanted to know was that specifically for your verticals, you are in B2B enterprise sales, like a
Right.
software.
Right.
What are the channels that you leverage to acquire customers and retain them as well? And what are your key marketing challenges that you're trying to address using digital marketing?
Sure, Soumitra. So like some of the channels which we use and have worked really well for us, as I was telling content marketing, that works really well for us.
Mm-hmm.
We have invested into a video a platform called Vidyard. So you can read about it later. So that enables lead gen through your video content. There's something which is generating really high quality leads from the videos that we have. Then we are also doing we spend a lot of money on LinkedIn ads. So LinkedIn works really well for us, but that's because we're in the B2B game. So I mean, for B2B, LinkedIn offers the kind of targeting option that we want, right? So we want job title targeting, we want business function targeting. These are the kind of targeting options that only a platform like LinkedIn can offer us. So LinkedIn works. So we have figured that over a period of time, and it works really well for us. Apart from that, even things like Google ads, display ads, GDN, all these are working well for us. We're experimenting on things like Quora, because Quora works well for the B2B domain. So we're trying to spend money and trying to make that work for us currently. And then we've also seen Facebook, etc., working in some particular regions. So it's region specific, right? So we do all our analysis region wise. So like all these things which I've shared are like at a global level, but they change when you look at region to region. So
and what's the business goal?
The business goal is to generate leads which can then like buy software from us, and like our software is very expensive. So the sales cycle is almost like a year once we generate leads. So it's a like a very long term game that we are in due to the high ticket value of the software that we are selling currently. Yeah.
So given that it's a 1-year conversion cycle, do you have a funnel where you say that I'm going to reach out to X number of CXOs in India, and once I build awareness with them, then I'll build consideration, and then eventually I'll build a purchase intent. So there will be certain amount of interventions I'll do at every stage.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely do a lot of database marketing. So we build that kind of database, as you were saying, and we do it in-house as well as we kind of get database from specialized vendors that we work with. And yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said, we do a lot of content marketing, right? So this content, and we do a lot of webinars. So this kind of content, attracts the kind of target audience that we want to go after. And we prefer like we're kind of moving towards more of an inbound strategy rather than outbound, because that gets you higher quality, so that's a strategy, right? So that's what we're working on.
Thanks, Ashish.
Sure, Soumitra. Nice speaking with you.
Nice meeting you.
Okay, so Naved has also, so we have 5 minutes. So Naved has asked me, for B2B clients, what more can we do other than content marketing or inbound? So Naved, everything that we have been discussing, like even the conversation I was having with Soumitra was around this. It's kind of answered your question. Asim has asked me, please share this name of video marketing app. So it's called Vidyard, Asim, and it's a very expensive app. So, I mean, if you're doing it for a client or somebody who has a good marketing budget, it makes sense, but you won't be able to get into it on your own, etc. You need a good budget for that, Asim. So Hassan has asked me, can you just recommend us the best tools we can use for digital marketing activities in this lockdown period? That's a very broad question, Hassan. If you can elaborate on your goals, then I can come back with the tools. Like there are almost, I think 200 or 300 tools that I've used till date. I can't just blankly recommend anything. It has to be for a specific purpose. Lead generation. Okay, lead generation, as I said, like on the paid channels, if you have money to spend, you'll have to first fix. So then that's what, like, if you get into specifics, what is the industry? What is the target segment? What is the region? What is your goal? Once you've answered all these questions, you will be able to narrow down to your platforms of choice, and then you can kind of use those as something which you can target via paid ads. Then content marketing will also have to go through a similar kind of exercise, and then you can figure out which kind of content to come up with. And then you can use things like capturing emails, etc., on your content, etc., to do this kind of lead gen. How can one contest for 100 best digital marketer? So Navid, keep doing good work. They'll reach out to you directly, as they did to me. So I don't think you would be able to get these awards if you reach out to them. So you have to keep on doing good work, and they will reach out to you eventually. Okay, so I think great. Just stop my. So feel free to reach out to me, like on my LinkedIn or my email ID, which I've shared, just in case you want to continue the dialogue further. As I said, I'm extremely passionate about this field, and I see myself working in this field for quite well in the future too. So yeah, it was great, taking some time out on today on Sunday in this lockdown and discussing a little bit on digital. And yeah, so Zoo, I think we are. I'm done on my side. I've gone through all the questions too. So is it okay if we can kind of conclude this session today?
Okay, if nobody has any question, I think that we can end our today's session, right? And also for people here, thanks for SH session, and it's very insightful. And also thanks for everyone's attendance. And I hope that the session you can benefit from today's session. And if you didn't join any of our WhatsApp group, and I will share the WhatsApp link in the chatting box. You can join us, and we're gonna hold more and more webinars in the future. And thanks for everyone again. I think we can just finish our session and to have our maybe lunch. Okay.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks, Izu.
Okay. Thanks, Zoo.
See you. Bye.
Okay. Bye, Sumitra. Bye.